Sven.
We're live.
I think we're live.
Perfect.
Yep, we are definitely live. I can see us on YouTube.
You have
avoid
the link
having
open,
echo.
huh?
Yeah, YouTube link. Okay, well,
Let's go.
hello everybody. Probably watching in the future, if at all. My name is Egil Hansen, and this here is my friend Steven Giselle, and we will be having some fun doing bUnit and general open source development and talking about it while we do that. So this is, I guess, the first official
That's
number
true.
one, the number one stream. Yes.
Yes.
The previous
the last
3
one we
weeks ago or
titled as
something.
number 0.
Yes, because we were just trying to get StreamYard working, and then there was a week where I was in Stockholm for the I'm not sure how they say it. Svedjuk conference. Excellent conference. Really, really great hospitality, great food. Took really well care of speakers. So, and the attendees also seemed very happy with the whole thing. So, highly recommend that. And so we're back, and we'll see how long we last before my family starts calling my phone and wanting me to come and do stuff. So yeah, it's just going to be like that today. I guess we have a few things on the agenda. There was one. I don't want to call it a bug, an enhancement that was brought up, a feature, new thing in Blazor in .NET 8 we wanted to take care of. That was related to, what is it, the supply from query parameters?
Exactly, and indirectly also supply from forms.
Yeah. So we need to add support for that, so users are able to do what they need to do there. And then I think we will try again merging V1 into V2, probably with a rebase after we've done that. So yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So we can start actually releasing a V2 alpha thing. So yeah, that's the goal of the day. Steven, do you want to be the driver today and share stream? You already experimented a bit with that issue, and
yeah, exactly. I can do it. Exactly. One thing. Oh, our first guest. Hello. One thing. I'm not sure if I pushed it or not. So I know we can tackle this in the second part of the stream, but I'm not sure if we ever reverted the changes of the deterministic render. I know I did this locally, but I'm not sure if I pushed this. So maybe we should check at the end. I guess I did.
Yeah, I think that's. But let's do the other thing first. Actually, let's get a feature in there and take it from there.
Exactly. Okay, just let me share my screen. I hope that is as straightforward as share screen. Probably take this one. I want to have my entire screen, and I want to have this one. Okay, let's go in, and yeah, you should be able to see my screen.
I'll throw us in each corner, and if you want, you can zoom in quite a bit.
Yeah, exactly. I will do that. That's a very, very good idea. Okay, what's on the menu today? The issue the user is facing is basically he has a small component where the parameter is basically supplied via the supply parameter from query. That thing isn't necessarily new, so that existed also in earlier versions of .NET. What changed is that, for example, .NET 6 and 7, you still, or you should supply the parameter attribute nevertheless. With .NET 8, they changed that because what they did is basically
they made supply parameter from query inherit from parameter attribute, as far as I can tell. I'm not sure if it's new, but
well, what is new is if
I'm guessing they. Yeah, I guess that's a new thing, because otherwise we would have had somebody else complain about that previously. or before
Exactly.
for .NET 6, 7. So yeah, definitely supply from query parameters has been around for a while. I think it was released in .NET 6.
Yeah, exactly. So what's basically new, if we go in here, is you can see this cascading parameter
yeah.
attribute base. That is new. That was introduced
Yes.
with .NET 8.
Yeah.
And basically, bUnit until now doesn't know much about this attribute. What it knows is this part, so the not base version of it. And while this is still working and it's working absolutely fine, the new things are breaking, so to speak.
Yeah, there are certain types of I guess if you search for other things that inherit from cascading parameter attribute base.
Exactly. There are 3 in total. If you go
And
in.
I believe cascading parameter attribute base was introduced in .NET 8.
Exactly. It was.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's part of the static server-side rendering. Now you can see my last search. To be honest, unfortunately, right now for the viewers, I'm not sure how I can scale.
Just Control plus, like basically zoom as you would normally, I believe. This is basically VS Code in the browser. Just zoom in the browser, and it'll actually that actually works better than Visual Studio because it zooms the whole UI, not just the file.
Okay, perfect. Exactly. So this one exists since the inauguration of Blazor itself, the cascading parameter. But in earlier versions, it just directly inherited from attribute, and now also from this thingy, this base attribute. Then there's this one, the supply from query. That's what the user is struggling with. And then there's the last one, supply parameters from form. So this one is a bit special. I mean, not really special, but it's part, as you can see, maybe here on the top where my cursor is, it's part of the web.
Yeah.
So,
but I guess in terms of usage, we would have typically you have a .NET object that is serialized or deserialized from a form post. So users would still. So actually, I think what we can start by doing is we can go into the code that deals with cascading parameters being assigned, not through. Actually, I wonder how does this work in a razor test scenario where you're not using the builder. Can you even, if you don't have the parameter? Well, no, I guess that would work too, but you just have to use cascading parameters to pass down values. Anyway, I think if you start by changing the code so it uses, for .NET 8, uses cascading parameter base instead of cascading parameter, and just have, because existing tests should still run, right? That's my...
exactly.
Actually, just for good measure, before we change anything, just run all the tests locally on your machine, so we...
yeah, exactly. I want to just write a small test. That's normally how I do it.
I'm going to put you over in the right corner next to me instead, so that we can see. Typically, there's information in the right side of the screen, left side of the screen. There's typical information. Well, my right of the... Well, is that...
is that the same? Is it?
Yeah, I'm going to put you in the same corner as me. Yeah, I don't know whether it's right or left, depending on where we're looking at it from.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, you're in that side.
So, what we want
so actually, you don't write another test. Initially, let's just start changing production code. So we have some code now that looks for a cascading attribute of type cascading parameter and does things with that. If we change that to just look for, if it's .NET 8, looking for base type, so
no,
that would be...
you know what? I can just look for cascading parameter attributes. Now you will find a lot from the source code generators. I do look for...
I think that's the... jump to this one. The builder, yeah. So
but not this part, not triad. There's this one I want to have.
Yeah. Have you already... Do you have a clean...
I'm on main. Absolutely. I mean, the test I created right now. So I also pulled. So I'm really on the latest and greatest main.
Good. Yeah, I
So
just
what
wanted
I
to
did,
see if you already had something in your working tree, or if it wasn't.
yeah, exactly.
But
So what I did, because I tried to tackle that in the first place, is let's say, we don't care what was in earlier versions, because we know that works. We know that for .NET 8 it changed, so whatever it was there before, let's keep this untouched for now. We can make this beautiful later on in our process. I want to have a specific path just for .NET 8. So I will select here .NET 8 just to be sure that my IDE is showing the right things. And now what I did, because I tried it, is basically you can take that line that's almost perfect.
Sorry, Stephen. I have a call coming in. Let me just jump off 1 second, 2 seconds.
Yeah. I can just continue this, because I tried it and I horribly failed with it. I named it wrongly. So there's this new attribute, the base one. If we go in, then we can see it downloads the source. It's literally that thing which I showed in the browser a second ago. So what I did to make it work is, or how the old version worked. Let's maybe have a look how the old version worked. Basically, you have this builder in bUnit where you just say, hey, I have this parameter or this cascading parameter. And we are going through and check if the property you're passing in with the add method, is it either a parameter or a cascading parameter? If it's none of them, we throw an exception, because the communication from components in Blazor, so if you have a child component which communicates to the other way around. If you have a parent component which communicates to a child component, it has to be done via this parameter thing. And until .NET 8, there was either parameter or cascading parameter. And that's why this line was absolutely enough, where you check, hey, either one of those is set, both cannot be set. This is also maybe something we should check. I'm not sure if we do this here. No, we don't. Interesting. But we say here, hey, if both is null, that cannot be the case, because it has to be a parameter. So this is basically what we did. We did, and then we just checked some stuff down here where we put the information into an internal structure and later added that to the render tree. This is how it worked, and that worked quite well, but it doesn't work for .NET 8 anymore. So let's go to .NET 8.
And I'm back. Sorry about that.
you know what I noticed while I went through our old code? We never checked. I mean, this is so edge casey. I'm not sure if we have to check that, but we never checked if it is both set, that the user sets a parameter and a cascading parameter. I'm not sure if Blazor itself prohibits that with an exception, but we for sure don't. But
I don't think it matters though if we
Yeah.
do like if they said, do you ever? Is there ever a good reason to both have that as a parameter and cascading parameter? I'm
No.
not sure.
What do you want to express with that? That's super. I mean, probably you can do that, but I don't think that makes sense. And what should win? Or should
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, that's my old friend from high school who's joining us and saying hi, and he's
Hey.
always been much better at left and right compared to me. Good to see you on the stream, Casper.
So exactly. So what I earlier did is basically we can still have this check. Again, we can do the refactoring later. Obviously, the message is different. Here would be, you could argue, okay, it has to be cascading. It has to be now. It has to be.
No. So let's skip that for now. What I really just want to try is if in .NET, like if we do that, like if we're looking for the base attribute, and if we run all the tests for the cases that we have covered by the tests already, that is that we are able to get just cascading value working. I just want to take small steps. So just start by doing this if else for .NET 8 and run all the tests and see if it still works as it did before.
So you would still do this one here. Do I understand you correctly?
Yes. Just do the only thing I want actually to change is just using cascading parameter attribute base instead of the other one.
Exactly. That doesn't work because the base doesn't have this name thing. So what I did
I see.
Is I basically checked, okay, we have what we want is a name more. This is the only information we need here. The name, which is then supplied to the render tree. So what I did, and that was partially successful. Let's don't do too much, as you said.
It's just true. So I guess you would cast base to say if that is of type,
Yeah, exactly, something like that. I don't know if
it's already guessing.
That, to be honest. Yeah. But
well, just do an underscore for now because we don't. Just do a throw not supported exception or something for the underscore case, just so that. Yeah. Just because we don't have any tests for this yet, so it doesn't matter. Just I don't know. Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, it's kind of a not supposed to happen kind of scenario here, right? Because we don't have any test that should test this scenario yet, so it's still just work.
It's just not implemented. That's all.
Yeah.
Just for the sake.
And you don't want a semicolon at the end of that switch.
Yeah, I also did it. Yeah, exactly. Right. Now we have the name. So we can pass in the name, and then we should be good. That thing is not null.
You would just set that to true because you just hardcode that to true.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, because it's
exactly
a cascading of type. All right. So if it builds, we should be able to run all the tests, and they should still pass. If I am in particular for the .NET scenario.
We can make it easy. I would just run tests for .NET 8, just for the sake of time. Because we are pretty certain that should work, or there's no reason it should not work for older versions. So I just run it for .NET 8 once it's compiled. I can tell here, not all target frameworks. I just want the 8. Okay. It's still building. Okay. Can I just trigger it in the meantime or queue it up? I know. Benchmarks. Come on, last project. Let's go. Oh. Yeah, okay, that's on me. You're absolutely right. I should not have edited that test. It just creates compiler errors. Okay, just let's run all tests. And let's see what happens. So it's only on .NET 8. Oh, and there are a lot of failing ones, but that makes sense.
Does it?
So yeah, because this is not true via default. We still have to check if this one is not null, but this cannot be the case because here we do a switch, so that would not work. They know if this is null, we would never ever reach that here.
Is it
probably?
Yes. So let's look at why
it's null. We can make it super straightforward. There's no reason to, because we can just do this. We know exactly that this one is false, this one is null, and then we can go on, because we know now this is set. Otherwise, this will throw a null reference exception, and this will be true. Okay. And this should be somewhat the code we had before.
Yeah, just in a .NET 8 context. Yeah.
Yes. That's absolutely true. So let's compile that once more. Run the tests. Yeah. And there's much more green. I like that color a bit more. Yes, everything is green. Okay,
so now we have changed our target for .NET 8, but we do have the same functionality as we had before. So now we can, you can do I don't know if you want to do just stage the changes or something and refactor afterwards. Are you happy with the code as it looks right now?
We can, just squash everything together. So let's do it.
Create a branch now.
Feature.
It is kind of a new feature, yeah. It's not really a fix.
Supply or cascading base parameter, something like that.
Yeah, it's more about, I don't know, support originally we only supported one cascading parameter, right? The cascading parameter, but basically support multiple kinds of cascading parameters.
Yeah. So I don't need this one, so let's just take the builder. I just call it feature, and then I just squash everything together at the end. So
I'll just do a vip commit for now. I just want to be able to write a test now and sort of get that. Let's do some good old fashioned TDD, right? So
exactly. That's component parameter collection builder test. We could go here, or we could. I am always a big fan. So this is why I started. You may have noticed that I went directly to the component rendering tests.
Mhm.
I wanted to add the test here. That might be not the best place to do so, but for me that made the most sense because I want to have the end-to-end behavior of that attribute, because it's
Sure.
probably not only our collection builder, there's more. Yeah.
One case against that, though, is that originally, and I know I might have left some slip in there, the component rendering test is more or less a verbatim copy from Blazor's
Yeah, the
own
Blazor
end-to-end
team.
test. So I always plan to keep those test classes just be the like not add something that is specific to bUnit into that. That's very likely that the Blazor team, since I don't know, Netcore 3.1 or something, has added additional tests to that, but it's not a lot as far as I can tell. So I would rather us just keep our tests related to, keep them. I guess it would be under core, right? Blazor bUnit core tests, and just add some tests there in the same place that we have all the other builder tests.
Yeah, the only thing I can tell you, because I already tried to tackle that issue, is it doesn't work what we're doing right now. Just that you know, I just don't want to spoil it too much. But there is something in Blazor, and I wanted to dig into the code, which somewhat prohibits what we want to do. So it's not as straightforward as just passing that into our own builder. That will work, and if we assert against that, and I'm absolutely fine to do so, that will pass. But if we do an end-to-end test, it will not. Just the spoiler.
So by end-to-end, you mean that it just actually assigning the properties to the parameters rather to the So
Exactly.
I think it's both yes and no. So let's so no, I think it's you can still set up a test where we just render out a component that has the elements,
Exactly.
and then we actually want to see them have the parameters assigned. But I do think it's okay. Well, let's try to add I guess a test. I think one test case would be the supply from query, right, which is also in .NET 8 cascading parameter. And I guess it should also just work in .NET 7. But
yeah, in
let's see
.NET
about
7
that.
it works as of now, because you have to add the parameter on
see.
top. So that's why it's working until .NET 7, but not with .NET 8 anymore.
I see. Okay. Well, create a .NET 8 test, and just let's start with a simple one, supply from parameter, which usually is just a string or int or something like that.
Where should I would put it there. Rendering is also not really true.
I think no. So honestly, Stephen, for me, it's fine to just have it in the component. In the
You want to put it in here?
Yeah, just put it there. Like not in the rendering. Into the just put it into the builder. No, not in the end to end. Just put it into the builder. It doesn't matter that we mix the kinds of tests we have in there because they're all related to that. So I would rather have it in the component parameter collection builder tests. I think so. Oh, hang on. Second phone call off the stream. Be right back.
Yeah, then I will just create a new one. No, let's not create a new one because it's straightforward. Here a lot of tests. And here somewhere are the components. That is good because I have to add now any component. And the basic idea, and sometimes it's really useful. It's not if def. This is not C++. I'm very, very, very sorry. And if then we need a private sealed class with the beautiful name supply from query parameter component. Oh, does it work? Is that good enough? Well, no. I really thought the GitHub Copilot is smarter than that. I have to switch here to .NET 8, otherwise it doesn't really work. Okay, then we need this supply from query. And there are multiple things we can do here. Let's call it query for the beginning. but we also need the test case where we set that thing. You can set this to something specific. You can call it foo and call this one bar. Naming is hard. I will probably rename that later. Otherwise, I know that some people will not like it. Okay. Those two
And back
cases we
again.
want to. Hello. Let's call that int and this. So we have a bit of variety. This is the page size.
Yeah,
We
just
call it
I don't
just
know,
size. So just that we know they are not the same. These are the two cases we want to cover basically because that's what you can do with that parameter.
Yeah.
So this is my component, supply from query parameter component. Once is where we just take the thing and here. Okay, then I have to go up here. Here's the last test. If I'm always doing this one, if def. I don't know why I didn't do C in I don't know how many years, but still I'm somewhat into that. Why is the spacing so incorrect? Okay, supplying query parameter should be reflected in query string. That's more of a end-to-end what the user would see in the browser. Reflected in component parameter. I will rename that later. Probably promise. Public void test 315, and now it's pretty simple. Why is it?
By the way, let me just interject that the whole naming standard for and using display name and tests 316 and 17 and 18 that I thought it was a good idea back in 4 years ago when I started doing bUnit. I have since changed my mind, but in the name of consistency, we just keep doing the same thing. So I quite often I change how I adjust my coding style as I become wiser or just learn from mistakes. But independent of that, I think the most important bit is that you always stay consistent in the coding style that is in the code base. And because if at some point you want to refactor, you can refactor all at once, and it makes it easier for people to read. So yes, so that would be I think actually.
First, there are multiple cases, so maybe I want to allow this one.
Yeah.
This should work because, why not? In theory, also add cascading, that would be a second test. That should work, but that's a second test.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's not common that people will understand that supply from query parameter is a cascading parameter underneath the hood. So I think I want to focus on using add. Right.
Fair. Okay, that's basically our test. So I want to provide tests here, and tests should come out in my query. That's how that thing should work. Okay, if I run that test, there's no much of a surprise because it will not work. Otherwise, the user wouldn't report. Yeah. It's not implemented.
I'm curious. Can you actually change that to be add cascading instead? What if we do add cascading? I want to see if it actually works just by treating it as a cascading value. Yeah, you give it a name and you give it a value, right? So that's overload. I'm not sure.
Okay, let's try. I don't think so, because also this one checks. I mean, right now, it doesn't do that. But it's expected. That's somewhat expected.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I would like to have both working the same way to some degree because,
Okay, so I wonder.
Anyway,
what do we need to do so one thing is having the builder correctly detect that this is a type of cascading value and doing the right thing. But what is actually needed, because it's like if you go and actually how can we have it? Oh yeah, okay. So we have a not implement exception. So that's the first step, I guess. Okay, so
we have here the supply from
keep the not implemented around the underscore version. Just add a new overload. Yeah.
And here it's straightforward. Either you set that name, or, and that is the default how it works. Blazor does exactly that. You use your property name. So because you don't have to supply it, if we check here, name is nullable. If you don't supply it, it's also written here. The parameters assume to have the same name as the associated property. So that's
Okay, yeah.
literally
So
what we're
we
doing
so
here.
so we do want explicitly to set the cascading value name though, in this particular case.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So in this scenario, do we want so should the test pass now?
You would think so. And
I
this is
think it might do actually, because we're telling it is cascading value.
unfortunately, yeah, exactly. But I tried it already, and then I tried to dig into the code, and it didn't work. So let me. It's building right now, and it will unfortunately not work. It's just building the source generators again. So that's yeah. Yeah. Let's wait here a second. You can hover here. Oh, now it's passing the bUnit web, which is good. And there you go. And it's still null. Even though in the collection, in our collection, which we are passing down to the renderer, that thing is in. So
yes. So I guess it's the Blazor low-level renderer, the part that actually assigns parameter, doesn't treat it as in the same way as it did before in terms of being cascading parameter. So even though it inherits from cascading parameter base, it isn't.
It's treated differently.
It's treated different. Why is it treated differently?
Yeah, that's a good question. This is where this one was it here? Was it this one? For some reason, I explicitly put that file. I didn't put the file in, and now I don't know what I what I wanted to show here. But there was a reason in, I guess, in the
there is a new service, the cascading parameter, where you can sort of add that value as a cascading parameter. I don't think caching is really the issue here.
No, I don't. No, not this one. I was more about the component state, current value, because as you can see, the parameter info basically tells. I have to find it again. The parameter info tells you which type it is. Unfortunately, it doesn't show here, but it's at the end. It's the type of your cascading thing, and it could be one of those three. It could be either the cascading one, it could be supply from query, or supply from form.
Yeah.
So here do you have this base thing? Yeah, I wanted to go through that code. Base any, because they made, okay, the public API, I guess no one cares. Tests, no one cares. Binding, I would argue also no one cares in that sense, because that model binder should be there for us as well. So if this is the problem, would be problem in production code. So I don't think here necessarily is an issue.
No, what I'm worried about is that it's a completely new, like in a normal Blazor application. I'm wondering if you, in your component, we can actually set up a test for that, or like a manual test. We create the component you had before, supply from query parameter. But what I'm thinking about is if we override set parameter async that takes the parameter view, what's it called, type collection in, does that actually include the cascading parameter, or does it, like, because so actually if you go down to the test case we have, or sorry, the test class, test component rather, that one, and you override in there, set parameters async. Yep. I want to have a breakpoint in there and see, does the parameter view include it, just do a breakpoint, or yeah. I guess we. Oh yeah, you want it. So otherwise, it's gonna not render it out.
Yeah.
So I wonder if the parameter view actually includes that the name of. Yeah, you just do. I don't know. Just set a
Yeah.
breakpoint. You don't have. You can just delete the whole. Console write
Are you
line.
sure that then doesn't our
Oh, yeah.
analyzers tell you that you
Well,
shouldn't do that, and then it's
are you
also a
running in?
compiler error?
Are you running in debug mode or in release mode? Because debug mode shouldn't care.
That's true, but I don't know what I'm. I
If you're
guess
doing
I'm.
release builds all the time,
Yeah.
then I also understand. Now,
There is render frames per meter view. That seems very much empty. Shouldn't here cascading
no,
per
I'm more
meter
looking
state?
cascading parameters are empty.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
empty. Is here this one? I mean,
yeah. Cascading parameter state. So I wonder if you just do a file new Blazor project and just create that component and add that component and let's spin it up and I guess just Blazor server just to make it simple. Or Blazor web app, doesn't matter. Yeah, just some server side so we don't have to deal with WebAssembly debugging. I just want to see what the behavior is. What is included in if the parameter view does not include the cascading parameters for that particular thing.
So let me know if this is visible. Is this readable? I hope so.
I think it's okay. You might zoom into maybe. I think it's okay. I'm sitting and watching for my screen, but you might want to make it maybe slightly bigger just to be sure. So actually create another component, and so we add to the home page. So yeah, and just supply from query, and doesn't matter. Just do public string something. Yeah, and then override set parameter async, and put a breakpoint on line whatever. Yes, and just include it there, and delete your code block below.
Doesn't matter, huh?
Yeah, well, it's
a partial class anyway.
It's noisy.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, So we're in.
Yeah. Okay.
There is something inside. There is something inside.
What's that?
There's this value supply from query. I mean, that thing is probably empty. Query. Yeah.
It doesn't have a string type.
There.
And the supplier is probably a
sorry.
callback.
The thing is, we can make it a bit more realistic.
Well, you can also try to supply that value, right?
Exactly.
So just in
what
the URL.
Is where I have it open here. If I say now here, query test, what's in there? So here, we have this value supplier. That's probably, there's a subscriber, which is obviously our component. Yeah, that makes absolutely sense. And here is nothing. I mean, that's just a parameter info. As you can see, it's a type, property type, and the name. So we are missing that, basically.
I think what we need to introduce is the whole value supplier type into.
Interesting.
That's a new concept in .NET 8.
Yes. But what is interesting to me is the part that I just checked briefly that pull request, that I thought this one, because these model binders and whatnot, they should live probably somewhere in the DI container, which we are probably not, huh? Because some things are living there and some things don't. And it sometimes makes it a bit tricky to understand.
What was the name of that type? Value supplier?
Here, you see, try add enumerable. Here's cascading model and here form. So those two.
Oh no, it is simply a type called cascading value supplier. Oh, dear God, it's an internal interface. What the? And cascading parameter state is also an internal.
Interesting.
Cascading parameter info. So we have something called a cascading parameter info, which is a public read-only struct. And where are you used?
Yeah, basically from the binder uses that thing to determine whether or not, or which of those three cascading types it is, including the property.
I think essentially what we need to do though is we have the component builder, right? We have the we do have the component builder and component parameter builder. And what that is doing is essentially creating up that parameter view. So we need to figure out how to correctly inject something into that, so that it gets used.
But for me, the form supplier. The form supplier doesn't matter. I'm just interested. Navigation manager.
It could simply be that we, in the bUnit navigation manager, we go and set that query
Yeah,
parameter. But that
I
would
think so too. It is part of the routing. It does make sense that it's part of the routing, because that's the only way how you can supply that parameter in a normal context, in a not bUnit context, so to speak. So that the model binder is the way to go. Yeah, that makes sense. Huh?
Cascading parameter info. I'm still trying to figure out how. Looking at the existing code here. Let's see, what are they doing? Just looking at the tests.
Here, if you on location change.
Wait a minute. There's a type, a component that cascading. Oh no, it's just cascading value of t.
So how it at least works in this pull request with the queries is that they hooked into the on location changed and notify every subscriber to that event. So every subscriber to that cascading parameter, not event, sounds like on location change, but no.
Yeah, and I guess that's because typical cascading parameters can change, and when that's you want the components to re-render, essentially, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm just wondering what can we actually new up and add into what can we new up and add into?
Yeah, we would have to add if you call the add method, you have to add this one to the subscriber, and in the render cycle, in the initial render cycle, notify them of that change, which may induce side effects because they might or might not render twice. So we have to be careful not to introduce new render cycles just because we want to make this work.
Yeah,
I guess how do they get the subscriber?
There's a supply parameter from cascading value parameter, and it takes a navigation manager as input. But I'm still getting, like, it seems like there's an internal interface called iCascading value supplier. That one is internal, so we can't really do anything with that. But I want to see
what we have. Wait. Maybe it's not that. So what they have is this cascading value.
That's a component. That's the old good old fashioned component.
Well, but here in this cascading value, they set up.
That's okay. So we can actually, maybe if we just add the right cascading value, so you can see cascading value of the component implements the cascading value supplier. So I guess if we use that, so if you go back to our code, there is right now when we do want to support cascading parameters, right? Just good old-fashioned cascading parameter types in the builder. I'm guessing we are already using the. Maybe we're not using the cascading parameter, but we could.
Where's that builder? Damn it!
Too many windows open, files open.
Yeah. Yeah, here.
Yeah.
Here, and at the end, wait, we return here. So this is not so interesting, this component itself, but more the usage might be interesting. And here we are adding.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go into that.
Here we created, but
yeah. So if you go to create cascading value, that method there, because component parameter, and okay, so the builder we probably want to, because that's just a component parameter that is that gets turned into a render fragment. So if you go to
yeah, exactly.
So go to the builder's build method, the to render fragment. Yes.
This one. So
that is where we're actually using the cascading value type. Yeah. And I guess we need to amend that method. If you put a breakpoint into that, add cascading value, and see if we ever hit that in our test we had before. Because I do think we said cascading value should be true.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Okay. So now
there's a name that's correct.
Yeah. And does it have? Yeah. So we add that in there. Add that to the attribute.
The value is test. That's also correct. That's what I set to the test. Is fixed. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter for testing purposes right now. By the way, I like this new feature that in Writer you see which. So they evaluate.
It's not going to take that branch. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
That's neat.
And then obviously the component we have to add. Yeah, that's fair. But somewhat the subscription to that component isn't done.
No, I'm just looking at the cascading. Cascade.
Yeah, and then we have console write line, and there it's not there, obviously.
Value. So it's cascading value that we are viewing up. Cascading value source. There's also another type just called a cascading value source, but I think that's a service as far as I can tell.
Where do you see the source?
No, it's a new type called cascading value source of T value. Oh, okay. The sun is blinding me. Oh, that didn't help.
Subscriber. Here's the subscribe method. Component state, and then this parameter info. I'm just looking. So this is explicitly implemented, the interface. Interesting.
I think I caught off most of the blinding light from outside. Yeah, so let me see here. So cascading value and
so in theory we don't have to do much. This cascading value in set parameters async, it will invoke or it will notify subscribers.
Yes.
That's good. So the only thing is, which I still struggle to understand, is how do I add? There is a subscribe method.
No, but that's the renderer that will do that for us.
Yeah, probably.
and that's coming from the I cascading value supplier, which is an internal thing, so we don't have access to that.
Exactly.
So I am more interested in. No, there's two things we need to figure out first before we even get into that cascading value of type T. The first problem was that when we had a breakpoint in the set parameters async, we didn't actually have any cascading parameters.
Well, we are hitting this before we go into that method.
Exactly. Yeah. So there is. We are not generating the right render tree that would result in a cascading value being added to the output and being passed down to the parameters. Parameter collection.
Yeah.
So if you put a breakpoint again inside the test case, that one. So when we ran it just in the Blazor app, there was a cascading parameter in there.
Exactly. Here, obviously, isn't.
And that's still
array.
empty. So I am wondering what has changed. Like, why is it not there? And I don't think it has anything to do whether or not it's a component base or it's I component. Like the.
That's fair, but I am on the component base. You mean the
in our builder method, we should be adding
a close component. Yeah, we use the builder, which it's just an I component at the end, huh? It doesn't have lifecycle methods, obviously.
No, it doesn't matter. Like it's not really about the lifecycle methods. It like normally a cascading value would allow us to let me see. Navigation manager. I want to see if It's more about. I think there might be some. I would really prefer not to have to mess around with navigation manager to pass down the query parameters, right?
Well, I do think that was.
But that's how the real version works, right?
They extent, because you can't just type in a new. So there are two ways of but the form handling, for example, doesn't rely on navigation manager. You can enter something in a form, pass it down to a child without navigation manager. So this way, there has to be another way.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why the parameter view isn't picking up on the cascading value that we are clearly adding there to the list. So I guess there's a different code path for supply parameters from query. There is something called supply parameter for query value provider, which does have a dependency on. So let's see what that actually is doing. And where are you used? Oh, that's just added as a. So there's a method called add supply value from query provider that you can add to your services collection. And it, I guess, is that on by default in .NET 8? Yes, it is. If you call add razor components in just standard web endpoints and on WebAssembly and WebView as well, it gets included by default. Yeah. So we have that one, and that uses the provider. What does the provider do? It has component parameter info.
Lifetime.
I'm wondering if we will need to have our own implementation of I cascading. Well, we can't do that because it's internal.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's probably just something in here where we aren't really doing, like, I'm just.
Interesting.
Get value from. So. Yeah, this is not as straightforward as I expected it to be. Because I think essentially you see that further down, the WebAssembly cascading. No, I think
the last one here, those are interesting. Form
no, but
supplier.
it would be supply parameters from query value provider, which is being used in when you call add razor components if you go back to the app you created.
Yeah.
And you go to program CS and scroll up and say add razor components, go to that method there. And scroll down a bit further down. It's halfway down, I think. It's line 69. Well, almost, I guess.
No. I guess it's decompiled, huh? How was the name?
It was named, it's an add supply value from query provider.
Here.
Yeah. Oh, they have it twice.
No, that's form. Once is query, what's form?
Yeah. And that one.
Just for the sake of it. I cannot drill down for some apparent. Why I cannot go down? I like to have the implementation.
But
yeah,
yes,
but this one probably is not much public, huh? Oops, sorry.
No, the supply parameter from query value provider is a private implementation. I can chat that at you here. Let's see. I've added it to the chat, a link you can click at. I don't know why. So click, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if you click on just the name of it's a semi-decent type browser. Just click on the name of the type up at the top there. Just name
this one.
That one, yeah. Then it'll show you where it's being used. Actually, it shows you fewer things than mine. You might want to zoom in a bit in the browser. Control plus or whatever.
Yeah, that's work for apparent reason.
Command plus, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use source.net quite a bit to figure out what's going on. Yeah, that's just, the adding the IEnumable to well, not enumerable, but adding the supply parameters from query value. Now, I would
But what
really
if
like.
we add that? Because we don't add this to our container for sure. We
No,
don't
no.
call it.
But if you have a look at the type supply parameter from query value provider, that takes a navigation manager, and it uses the navigation manager to find the query parameters, which makes complete sense for runtime. But we don't want that, right? We don't want that in this particular case. We kind of want to find another way to inject something into the render tree. So previously, when we had to supply a cascading parameter, we used just the cascading parameter component. So, but the cascading parameter component also implements a cascading value supplier. If you click on that and click on the name, you can see that. And there's actually another type, a cascading value source. So if you click on that, yes, cascading value supplier, just click the name and scroll up a bit. Scroll up a bit on the left. There you go. You can see here are the two types that implement. Yeah. And you have the cascading value, which is just the regular old component. Now, actually,
what we use.
Oh, hang on. I'm guessing that cascading value of t value, that has changed for .NET 8. So maybe that part of the code where we include a cascading value of type t value, we need to have an if net 8 around that. So it's using the right version.
Can we go back with tags here in this in the browser in the source.net?
No, I don't think so. But I do think you can.
Oh, and then let's take GitHub.
Web access, you can click on the web access. So if you scroll down, there's just behind our names, and we just throw us over on the side there. So if you want to show it again to the people, go back to that one. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, exactly. Maybe from here, history 8 months ago, taking.
You can just use the tags tag selector. So just go to .NET 8, .NET 7, for example, or 6. Oh, it's called a cascading value component before that. Interesting.
I just want to put it there. This one here.
Cascading value component doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. But besides, not much else changed. Yes, the explicit implementation of this interface is gone. And set parameters async does look pretty much the same. So, wondering here. So this is really difficult to find exactly. Yeah, and then subscribers, and then obviously the new interface. Okay, fair enough. Obviously, probably it's just a name change, huh? Because much of the logic seems the same. Oh wait, request name no. But here is that's the .NET 8 one. Here happens property type. Yeah, fair enough. But they do not much more.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, why do we not
see that? Yeah.
Why isn't the cascading parameter included? So I guess what you could do is you can go into that component, our test component, and just try to add a regular old cascading parameter and try to set that and see if we can figure out where the code path diverges, right? So if you just go to the test and go down to the component definition there and just add just a cascading parameter of type, I don't know, date time. Or if you want to make it named, that's also works.
Yeah, we don't have to. I'm sorry. Yes, we don't need public string.
Yeah, you just have now you have two types, two cascading parameters of the same type. So I want to have, but maybe just for now, remove one of the supply from the integer one. Just remove that, and make the other one the like just let me try that again. Rename int the int size cascading parameter to be a cascading parameter, not a supply from query. Just so and just not have a name for it. So just change the type of that cascading parameter to be a just old-fashioned one. Yeah, cascading parameter, and just have don't name it. Just so because now it's just gonna decide based on the yeah. So that would be .add cascading value, I guess. And
But it's unnamed, so it doesn't help us. I have to name it down here, otherwise it doesn't work.
You don't. No, you don't have to. You can just pass in an integer, right? The t value. So no size, just remove because it doesn't have a name because we didn't give it a name. So it's just getting passed by. So if you put a breakpoint now into the test component, just run the test, so we can see in the set parameter async. Yep, we have it all already. Because I want to see if I can understand why we don't get that cascading value passed down. So now we have one cascading values in. Oh,
that's the query.
Yeah.
And here's the second one, which is the unnamed one. That makes sense. That makes absolute sense. So we hit it still twice as expected. And if we check that, we only have one, and that will be the cascading parameter, the unnamed one. Yes, here you can see it's of type integer.
Yeah, so that picks it
works
up.
Quite well.
And if you go into cascading parameter info, there you go, and we can see the name of it is the size and the type is int. So if we add what if we go ahead and it did figure out it was the size of it was the name. What if we just do add cascading parameter for the what was the other property we had? Query, right? So if you add a string now, just add cascading value of string. No. I mean up in the test.
In the test.
In the test, unit test. Yeah, that one. So instead of having add, just do add cascading, and then remove. So the question is, do we get 2 now? And would it match? So because I don't think the cascading value supplier type, which is part of the thing we're looking at, matters in terms of setting it. So I would expect to have 2. Why do we only have 1? So that is something.
That's the only one that's matching.
So I think the problem is that there's something between us. So we basically constructing a render tree which does have 2 cascading values in there, right? One for the string and one for the integer. But there is a filter in place that only populate. Yeah, so Blazor will only populate
one which matches
for cascading values. Yeah, that matches the type, and it ignores supply parameters from query.
The interesting part for me would be, can I try something? Let's call that size 2 just for the name. And that's if I do it named. What happens then? Because still we don't have a navigation manager, doing stuff. So I suspect nothing now. The parameter supplier is empty. That would be my.
No, I would expect that to be 1 still for the integer because we don't name.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because the name doesn't matter; it goes by the type, right?
Okay,
so it matches up with the. But if you had 2 cascading parameters that were both integers with different names, it wouldn't know which one to match up, and that's where you go with the named versions, right? Now,
what? Okay, does that work if I do it now like that? if
Yeah,
I give it
I,
explicit name?
I think the problem is here that the cascading value supplier doesn't look
Yeah.
at the render tree if it's
Not the cascading one, but the supply from.
yeah, if it's a base type.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah. So I think we need to dive into the point where the parameter view is being created for the individual component, and it's decided what cascading parameters to include in that component.
Hmm.
And maybe
I
it's
will
just the
revert
parameter view
change.
struct itself, because that might give us a hint of what to do in terms of that is with cascading parameters. There's a method called with cascading parameters, and it's in component state. So the set direct parameters method. So if you go to the source.net link I shared with you before, but then you actually you can also just where you were. That's probably also fine. Maybe collapse the test output so we have a bit more vertical space. So that is further down in that. No, you are. I'm looking at something that looks a bit different.
Okay.
Yeah. You probably no. I mean, if you go to source.net, I'm looking at the component state type that is there. So if you type component state up in the search field, component state, and click on the type, and I don't know if there's a. It's very. I don't know if you can go into a light mode or something. It's very. The colors are not
Yeah.
very. It's having trouble rendering that.
Wasn't there?
Oh.
You could somehow. Wait.
Yeah, you're in
There
the right
was a
spot.
way of. You could override that, and I forgot where to do it. Damn it! I knew it. There's a way where you can
Yeah, I
force
think
the
you can just.
media.
I think there's a search function actually in.
Ah,
Yes. Well, okay.
it does
not for
something.
not for the editor tools, but yes. I
Ah,
guess it's under like you can override media queries, right?
it doesn't do
Oh,
anything.
well.
Yeah.
Appearance.
Light mode. Oh,
Appearance.
I thought. Where's here? It's theme? No, not theme. Jesus Christ! Again, show on the left. Bookmarks, custom font. I do not see it.
I believe.
What? Default show home button. The lie.
Force light mode in.
I know that it can. No, not that. Force light mode on Google Chrome. Windows setting. No. Jesus Christ. Maybe. Wait. Does that work better? Are you kidding me?
But maybe there is the colors are a bit washed out. I do believe it respects light versus dark mode.
I know, but there is a certain feature you could use somewhere here to override those here theme.
Yeah.
But not this theme. I wanna.
That's fine. It's more you can override what we tell the website, right?
No, that's not what I want. That's No, that's not what I want. Change dev tools. Yeah, somewhere there. Sometimes I feel like those help functions are, yeah, this one. Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
there's probably an extension somewhere. Show rendering. Oh yeah, you wanna yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, fire off that command.
Hey. Yeah, and now I cannot open the command palette anymore. Wait. No. Yeah, rendering. Yeah. Emulate media feature and light. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Okay.
I feel like if I close that, what happened? Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Okay, I can just leave it in the background. Very, very, very slim. So here, I'm sorry for the inconvenience.
That's okay. So don't go to iComponent. Just go to component state, and if you then scroll down to internal void set parameters direct. You have it right there on screen. Yeah. And further down, so there's something here where it does something with cascading parameters, and it takes its parameters with cascading parameters.
Stop supplying single delivery cascading supply combined, but we should be able to debug that.
Cascading parameters is something that comes from cascading parameter state. Find cascading parameters. Okay. So that might be a thing.
No, that's
so basically we want to find a place in the Blazor source code where they are matching up cascading parameters with the component type, and it makes sense. It sort of happens at a state. Let me jump in and share my screen real quick here. Or share a window rather, just because let me see if nope. Oh, didn't want to do that. Share screen. It's because no, not slides. Show screen. Browser. I guess this is the one I'm looking at. Yeah. And why did you minimize? And let's zoom in a bit. Oh, I'm sharing Visual Studio. God damn it. Present, share screen, and I want to share. Oh, I can actually share. Nope, I can share. Where's Edge? Where did you go? That one. Yes. Okay.
No, yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, and I might actually have a way to turn the light mode on. Nope.
You have an extension for that, huh?
I thought I had. Let's see. Manage extensions. Get extensions.
We got sidetracked.
Yeah, dark mode.
How to enable dark and light mode in various browsers.
Yeah. I do wanna. Can this actually go both ways? Yeah, I guess maybe this one will solve it. Let's just try it out. Add extension. What can go wrong? Yep. And if we go back here, do I now have this one? Show me that. Disable for this side. What if I refresh? Do I get nope? Still looks at my browser. Add to block list. What if we So I essentially want a force light mode.
No one ever thought of
No,
it. Maybe
nobody created an extension for this.
there's no market or
Let me see. Okay, light mode. I will just flip the entire thing. Windows settings. Come on. Light. Yes. Go light. And let's just remove that extension. No abuse. Here we go. That makes it easier. So that was component state. So that, hope it's clear enough for folks watching. So here, when this is passed in, we get parent component, and then there is cascading parameters. Find cascading parameters. I think the key might be in here. And in what methods is that? So that's under cascading parameter state. Okay, so that's cascading parameter state, and it has a dictionary of type and cascading parameter info, and I'm guessing type cached info. I'm guessing that reflects the type here would be the component type. So if I check what is being cached, that would be component type and infos, and create cascading parameter info. Okay, and where do we look it up? Let's see. So that would be this method. So what are we doing here? Find cascading parameters. So we get the type of the component we want to have cascading parameter from. And get cascading parameter infos and has single deliverer parameter. Cascading from components known to not have any cascading parameters spelled out early. So yeah, if it doesn't have any cascading parameters, we just skip. Now try to find matches for each of the cascading parameters. Defer instantiation of results list until we know there's at least one. Okay, let me just. Okay, it's sensitive. That's I resized
and back.
And now I can't. Right, let me just do that again. Can I just have it collapse? Nope. Yeah, it's fairly good, but it's not perfect. Actually, what I might want to do is just open it up here and read the code in here. So hope the size is okay. We can remove that so we get a bit more space. I am not sure if this is any better. Let me just do this. Just jumping around different editors.
That's good.
Okay, and it doesn't default to white mode or light mode. That's something.
And it also doesn't default to the file oftentimes, or does it? No. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it does.
Oh, yeah, it does. Woo.
Oh, and here we go, light mode.
What?
And I can do that. And I guess zoom wise, let me prompt. Well, that might be too much, but let's do command here. Wrap. Toggle word wrap. Yes, let's have some word wrapping. Makes it easy to read. Now, okay, so we basically that was get cascading infos and infos. So I think I want to go to that method first.
Exactly.
So that's down here. So basically that takes the type of the component. It checks, do we have that infos? Otherwise, we say create cascading parameter infos. And that will go through and say
create candidate bindable properties
of type. So I wonder if
that?
Go to file.
Does that work? Can you?
Let's see. It's doing a thing.
And what I also would like to know is if you are like right now, you have a file open in VS Code Dev. Yeah. I want to have the github.com link, not the dev link, and it doesn't work for me. No. I need that very much.
Let's go and have a look here because it's this one we want to find in here. So member assignment. So it's basically calling this method here, and it's looking for what are we doing? We're saying target bindable property flags. under target type member assignment. I don't know what that. Oh, that's an internal thing, and it's part of the components reflection. Get properties including inherited. Okay, so this is basically just looping over all the properties and adding them, and it's getting property info. Okay, so I think what this is doing, I think it gave up and didn't try to load it. I think it's just getting all the properties. And then we say for each property, we said, give me something. Okay, so we do have that cascading parameter attribute space thing here,
That's
and
good.
we want
I think on default that makes sense. Or you don't want to have multiple defined. That doesn't make sense. No?
Yeah, no, it doesn't really make sense. Yeah, and then we say if we have it, we add it in the attribute, and we add the name and the property name. Okay, so that's the result we get out of this guy. So that's basically just doing the reflection, and that is getting
pretty
cached.
certain we are not in there at all, because otherwise we. Well, maybe
I'm quite sure we are, because we are adding that in here, right? We are adding a cascading parameter.
We do,
yeah. Yes, we definitely want, because the supply from query parameters is inheriting from this guy, so it would show up here. I'm fairly certain of that. Now, where were we? We were up here. We were looking at get parameter infos, which is this guy, and it's just getting. Okay, yeah, so we just have a list of all these parameters. Okay, so if the length is 0, it just bails out. If it's not 0, we start looking through them here. Now,
I don't want to. I will be back in a minute, just that you know.
Sure, yeah. That's fine. Yes, very annoying. Did I type that out?
No. What?
I'm just one. I see.
No, that was me. That was me. Sorry. No, that was me.
Okay.
I just answered. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, but because it's my StreamYard account, that's why it shows up as your response. Oh no, Stephen, don't misuse my name in public. Yeah. All right. Let's see. So get matching cascading value supplier. This might be the key here. So supplier, and we pass in infos, renderer, the component state, dot logical parent component state, and supplier. And if we don't have one, we don't add it. And if we do have one, okay, so I think this is the next method we want to look at. Where are you? You are down here. So get matching cascading value supplier. We have the cascading parameter info. That is the type that is just created from. And we say first scan up through component hierarchy. So we basically loop all the way up and say if the component is an I cascading value supplier, and it can supply that. And I do believe this type, yeah, that's internal, so we can't really do anything about that one. And it can supply.
I'm back.
Yeah. We get to the root and found no match, so we look at previous providers registered in the DI. So basically, so this is the logic, as far as I can tell. So at the component we add in the component tree, it will look for parent components, typically cascading values, components, and it will ask them, can you supply value for this type of cascading parameter info? Now, if we expand this guy, and let's see, I'm gonna keep you open, but I'm gonna jump in here and take the cascading value. So that implements this type, right? So essentially what we're doing is we're walking up through the component tree, finding all the components that implement this type. We can't implement that because it's internal. And that if the can supply value returns true, then we have the value supplier. Otherwise, we go to the next parent. And if we don't find any, we look into the services collection for cascading value suppliers, and we ask them if they can supply what we need. Otherwise, we say we didn't have a match and we don't get a value, which is what happening to us. I'm fairly certain. Now,
The interesting
this type cascading value is not sealed, so that might be our hook, because we don't really want to. We want to have the value be part of the component tree, right? If we can, because otherwise we have to basically mix our component parameter builder type, and that needs to have access to the services collection, but that might not be able to. It might not be able to do like it's gonna be messy if that happens. So it's gonna be more complex because then we need to have maybe a dedicated singleton that we can sort of get a reference to, and then we might have a concurrent dictionary in there where we can do stuff. So I would rather not. I would just like to have it in part of the component tree. Is fixed. Let's find the can supply value. So essentially we say if attribute is cascading parameter attribute, if that's the case, and parameter info property type is assignable from to value, then so basically here in the can supply, so the cascading value here is checking for, it has to be a cascading parameter, otherwise it won't supply it, as far as I can tell.
Can you go to the right part again, the other or condition? Yes, for sure, we will be there false.
It basically says it's a type of, like the name, the property type of the cascading parameter. So if it's like in our example, we had an integer font, like it has to match up with the type as well.
That's
as
true, but it doesn't necessarily mean we are falling out on line 133.
I think we are on 133. You mean here? Yes, because supply from, if this was cascading parameter attribute base
in our case, fair.
Yeah,
but there's an or in our rights. The right condition still can be true. Wait. It is true that we're falling out. Oh yeah, fair.
So cascading parameter info. So parameter info dot property type is assignable.
Doesn't match, but for us it matches.
Yes, but then we get in here. So if it is a cascading parameter, which would be true in our case because we're just adding those. So it is a cascading parameter. We pass through, right? Then we say cascading parameter name. That's the request name. So if request name is null or name is null, cascading parameter attribute. But the thing is, no. So this attribute here, this is the attribute on the component. It's not the one that we add, right? So
the property, you mean?
Yeah, the property. So this is the component on the tests. It has so cascading parameter info would be the. If you go back to the component state here, no, that's actually that's the right place. So here we are creating cascading parameter info, and we're passing in the property of the component on the tests attribute. So that is not a cascading parameter. That's a supply from query something. So this will not match. So this is false. And then it asks if...
No, that's true.
That's true.
Because it's not. And that's why we fall into the false.
Yeah, we fall into the false. So basically, so we can only use cascading... double negative, right? So it doesn't help. I don't think we can override this guy anyway and provide our own custom type, right? And cascading value,
because this is internal, we cannot override the can supply value or get current value function.
But I guess what we
somehow do that.
Let's have a look. See here. What can we do? Is there other types that implement this? Let's click there. So we do have cascading value source, and that's also public.
Okay, because that thing is false. So basically there are two ways. Or either the component itself can do that, which in our case it can't.
Hang on, we can create our own component that implements cascading value source. right? So if I am, so instead of using what's it called? Where's it? This we can create our own version of this component. Basically, copy paste all of this jazz here, and because so over in, I think I have a plan. So if you share your screen again, let me share. I am going to, when you're ready, I can, put your screen on screen. Oh, what's it called? Screen on stage, on the stage. So there you go. Now, if we, in the code where we actually build out the render tree, where we say like the two render fragment, right? If you go to that, if you close all the files except the ones we've checked, like that's a two render fragment, that one. So here we had add cascading value. If you scroll a little bit down, you can see we basically are adding a cascading value of object of, and so on and so forth, right? So we basically, no, we're not adding of object, but we are adding a cascading value to a cascading value object to the render tree, which we wrap our component on the test inside. Now, if we want to, what I want you to do is to go into our, I guess, bUnit.core, actually, and create a new component called, what should we call that? Supply from query parameter cascading value source, cascading value, something like that.
Supply from query parameter cascading value source. Did I grasp that correctly?
I think so. Basically, we want to have something that can do that. And that's going to be something that implements I cascading value supplier. And it's going to implement I components.
I value cascade.
I cascading value supplier. There you go. No, XOR, not source supplier.
Can we? Wasn't that internal?
No, sorry. Yeah, no, it's I'm reading the wrong. It's a public type called cascading value source of T value. Yes, cascading value source of T value, and that would be T again. Call it T value, not just T, just to be consistent. Now, I want to see. Let me go ahead and let me see. God damn it. Hang on. Cascading value source. No, shit, it won't work either because it basically have the same condition on in the can supply value. And
we can't overwrite that.
We can't overwrite.
It's unfortunate that they make it an explicit interface implementation.
Well, still,
they had to obviously because an internal interface.
Yes. God damn it. I really don't want to have static shared state, but right now I'm not really able to come up with a better solution. Because it's kind of annoying that this is internal. Cascading value and cascading value source. What's the difference between cascading value and cascading value source? Supplies a cascading value that can be received by component. What the hell is the difference between a cascading value and cascading value source? Oh, one is a component and the other one is just type.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Both implement this beautiful interface, but yeah.
Yeah.
And if with cascading value we also cannot do anything, huh? Like overriding set parameters async and do our own stuff, you know what I mean? But because the parameters.
So the problem really is that when we want to go and find the cascading, cascading parameters, it will it will look for them, but it has to be like the whole supplier concept is internal, so we can't really hook into that.
We can politely ask them if they do internals visible to bUnit.
That would be that would certainly solve a bunch of problems for us.
That would be too good.
Find cascading parameters. I'm just looking at so the whole thing was, so let's, if we go to parameter view again. So that was just for cascading parameters. Parameter view. What if we open that one up and have a look again? Sorry, I'm just going to steal the screen one more time. Add to stage.
I have it open. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was. I think, no, it was under component state. That's right. It was component state. Component state. That's the thing that actually sets all of that up. Component state dot cs. Let's just file. Oh no, I can actually do something differently. I can just do component state dot cs. There we go. That's the one I wanted. So when we're newing up, we're getting our cascading parameters, but I guess it doesn't need to be a cascading parameter, right? If we can override, if we can hook in, so you can see component state is now public, right?
Yeah.
So in theory, we could create a bUnit component state, and that would be a .NET 8 thing only because it's not public in .NET 7.
And we don't have the issues on .NET 7.
No, yeah. So I just want to see if there's a way to sort of, because then we need to inherit from component state, obviously. But let's see, is there any hooks here where we can?
There is this find on line 56. I mean, you're already there. Find cascading parameters what we had earlier. That unfortunately this constructor.
Yeah.
And it's a public static method. Otherwise, we might have get cascading parameters info. Get matching, but this seems. Yeah, find cascading parameters. That seems to be the one we want.
Set parameters direct. So here we do parameters. Do you have any cascading parameters? Subscriptions. So there's something, supply, combine parameters. Where are you? Method, notify cascading values changed, stop internal set. So we don't really have access to that. Supply, combine parameters. So this is where we call set parameter async essentially in the logic flow of things. Direct and cascading parameters. So basically that builds up now. I guess by default in the test, I'm wondering what the default set parameters async, how that works. Oh, go to kind of worked here. Oh, there you go. That would be in routing. No, I want component base.
Component base.
No, but the problem is we need, if we want to do it the same way as the runtime does, we need to actually provide a cascading. We need to have when the user hits set parameter async, there needs to be a cascading parameter in the parameter review collection,
Exactly.
because that's
Yes.
that's what the runtime does, and it does not seem like there is any hooks in terms of
Yeah, they're all internal.
or like all these like the supply. Yeah, it looks like for the built-in ones we can't override, so we can basically say to the get can supply value that it actually will return true. So then there is this guy, and then we can have a look at, I think there is supply from, let me just search on that. No, that was maybe too many. Was it? No. Very was is supply from, hey, what is it? What's the name of the property again? I'm completely blanking on it. bUnit. Let's
Wait.
just simply go to
Supply from query parameter.
Oh yeah, that's the one I was looking for. I couldn't remember. So if we go here and find that, we have that. That's an attribute. We see where that's referenced. Oh, hang on. Oh yeah, so we have this supply parameter from query parameter. So this is the this is the type I was getting back at again. So this is one that uses Navigation Manager to actually provide query parameters, right? And that would, in the component state, when it's trying to sort of loop through the component tree until it doesn't find anything, it'll go to
a service container, huh?
Service container and find services that implements cascading value supplier,
which there are in the runtime.
Yes, which is the supply value from query provider parameter thing here. Now, unfortunately, that type is sealed as well.
Yeah, of course. It would be nice if you just could hook in and you implement your own.
Yes, well, so I guess the next stage is Navigation Manager, right?
Yeah, at least, yeah. In the whole, right now we're just implementing the abstract one. I hope it's not, well, because you don't need the form part. You don't necessarily, I mean, is this static service? The question is this part of the abstract navigation manager we are deriving from?
No, but you can see here the supply parameter from query value provider.
It just takes
that takes the navigation. Yeah. So
well, because they have to work for both modes, or if you want to say so, WebAssembly and server part, which respectively have their own navigation manager.
Exactly. And here, I guess when we have an on-navigation change, we can basically notify suppliers and map from. I am actually getting a bit worried that we can't really support this out of the box.
Yeah.
In a decent way, because of the key bits here are internal. So the subscribe method and get current value can supply value. It will go to is supply from current parameter. So it just says yes. If it has one of those, it can, and then it says get current value, and it will look for the attribute. And if the attribute has a name, a parameter, property type, and then it'll go to what's this fella here? Query parameter value supplier. Oh, it's a different thing. How is that doing its thing? How is that being able to access the navigation manager? Where is the navigation manager being used? Let me just, here we go. Try update URI. So get query string. Okay. So this supplier up here. Come on, show me the outline. So we have navigation manager, this one, and where is this used? If I click on that, I want to see where it's being used. Usually no references found. I guess it's quite broken. Let's do this instead. So get current value. So basically we get, that's one place. And when UI is updated, we either new up one of those and we say read from query. I see. So go in here and read from query. That would be this one. So we basically get what is being passed into that. That would be the query, and the query is query string from navigation manager UI. So we just have a query thing as a read-only span. And it'll basically loop through that and decode the values and do some stuff, cache that up into a dictionary. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it looks like for this supplier, the only way we can do that is basically in the code. Let me just switch over to your screen again. Add to stage.
Wait.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So we have to inception screen.
Yeah. Let's actually put us in the corner again over there. Now, I think the whole component parameter connection builder bit here, for this to really work, we basically have to, when they say, hey, I want to provide some value to my supply from query parameters attribute, the only hook we have, as far as I can tell right now, is that we can set that by going to the navigation manager. And so do we have access to the navigation manager at this stage? Can we get the navigation manager? I guess. So if we, where's the component parameter collection builder being newed up? So when you do render component, and that will do that, and it will take a collection parameters, and it will
So
new
it's already, but it's already done then, huh? That thing is already there.
Yes, but there's also an overload, I think, that takes the lambda that basically is the builder, right? So the render component, so that's that's a connection, but we want the thing that builds the collection. So there's a render component that takes that one. No, I think that just below on line 45. There you go. And it takes, so here you new it up. You were newing up the builder, and then we build. And then
you have access to everything you want, so.
Yes, we're in the text context. Do we have a navigation manager readily available? So we could, in theory, go and instead of when we do builds, we pass in navigation manager, and that would include setting some, query parameters if we have any query parameters, right? Now,
that doesn't matter.
That would be fake navigation manager, I believe. Or
yeah. Oh, it's only in V2. In V2, it's
just getting navigation manager, I guess, would be fine as well. And then we would actually, in the services collection, we would do services dot.
I'm sorry.
What is that method called? No, you're good.
No, I just need.
So if you go back to your demo app you just created, there's the add Blazor. So that's the try add supply from So that add
that's
laser
what-
components supply, but add supply value query provider build the provider. If you click on that, is that internal?
Which one?
This one, add supply value from query provider.
I
It
somehow
might
cannot
be.
go in. Wait.
I'm actually afraid it's internal because then we can't even
No.
add that.
No, it's not.
No. Okay, so we can actually call that method. So we can call that method in our test context in the defaults there. So we can say, hey, we're gonna add that in. Now,
That's called base. Was it? Where is that? I just.
yeah, but it is text context, I believe, in the web projects. It's just not text context base. Yeah, and then there's no up in this constructor. Add default. So there you go. So if you say .NET 8 and greater, it would be services.add. Now that adds that in there, and that will use our fake navigation manager instead. So
that's that. Didn't I add somewhere here? Navigation manager. Yeah, this. We don't need this here right now.
no, yes, we do, because if the user is going to do the add supply, and maybe we actually do an overload called add supply from query, right? Well, actually, rather. So if we like the quick and dirty solution is that we tell the user if you go back to our test case, like, can you what is the git diff you have right now? Because I think there might be some.
We have this one, which is fine. We have the test. That's fine. We have a useless. Ignore that for now. We have this one, which for sure we don't need.
Yeah.
And then we have this one.
Okay, so if you go back to just the test that we are trying to write. Now, before you do, if you just can do like that one and scroll up to the test itself, just remove any add like just render the component. But before you render the component, do services.get the navigation manager here. Yeah. Oh.
That was almost helpful.
Everybody watching, if you haven't tried coding in front of other people, you will recognize Steven's fat fingers once you try it. Okay, so here, a navigation manager, there's an extension method on top of that called something like, set the URL with some query string. So if you do, there's like, I can't remember the name, but basically you can say, take the current URI and, add query parameters to that. Can't remember. What's the method on that?
This one, but
yes, exactly. No. Call that one. That will return a string to you. So you basically pass in the name of the query parameter you want and the value, right? So that would be query, I guess, and then some value.
Yeah, value.
I can't remember what we had down in our test component. Right. Yeah, and you get a URI back. Then you have to then say navigate to. So navigation manager navigate to, and then you pass in UI. And now I actually believe the test would pass. Because you had that change in the test context where we add that default thing, right?
Well, I should not create useless files and let them stay around. That's on me.
Nobody's perfect, Steven.
How did I call it down here? Just for the sec. It just has the name query.
Yeah, it should be fine.
That's
so
fine.
We should be hitting that breakpoint now in parameters view.
I didn't debug.
Well,
it is building source generators.
Okay, still doing that. That's interesting. I know I have a quite beefy machine, but it's still interesting that it's like you have an M2, right? M2 Mac.
Yeah.
Spinning.
Well, Where's the deadlock? Why are we not going further? Yeah, well.
Oh, did it stop?
No, I'm killing it. I just want to
Yeah.
check which
Yeah,
breakpoints do I hit. Obviously, I will never hit the component. That's for sure.
yes,
I
most
don't hit
likely.
anything here. What? Wait.
Set a breakpoint in the test and just step into the test. Yeah. Hmm. That should work, right? Did you step over?
No. Yes, as you can see, that's the problem. Get required service. Wait, what? Why is that an issue right now? I do not understand anything.
Maybe
Wait.
can you?
Just to be sure, I will put a breakpoint here. I will debug that again. Let's go. And it doesn't
Otherwise,
matter,
maybe
if
try to reset back to like just reset back to main.
but I want to keep that test though.
Yeah.
And we
Okay.
need this one. This one we need as well.
Yes.
And then we have this test. Let's roll back white spaces. And we have this one. Okay,
Oh yeah.
fair enough.
I actually think you can just undo all the cascading value based changes we did as well.
Yeah. We have to support part of them anyway, but that's for futures, for future us. So let's build this new. So let's see what happens. That is interesting.
You should absolutely be able to get a service out of the container before, unless that's something specific. No, navigation manager should not be a problem getting that out of the container before. Actually, we certainly have other tests where we do that. So step over.
I did. It's just we're on the same page. We should never return it. Wait, I have an idea. Wait. What happens if I explicitly ask for hours? Yeah. What happens then? But the service container is done at this moment.
No,
There
the
should
service
be-
container gets instanced, this test service provider gets converted to a service collection when
on first render, huh?
not on the first render, on the first time somebody accesses, calls get required services or get services on it.
And still it doesn't do anything. I mean, it
Try
does something.
try step into instead of stepping over.
Fair. Oh god, now you see my
can you in Rider, when it gets to that point where it's sort of blocked and not doing anything, can you go into that, right? Yeah. So now it's initialized, right? So now we actually have something. What do you say? What if happens if you do get?
Then it's an indefinite loop. Oh no, we have a result. That's the component fact. Yeah, I guess we will. That is the test renderer. That is, I do think, fine.
Oh no! So I don't want you to set a breakpoint in there. I just want you to step into it. So you just step in when we're actually asking for the navigation manager.
Oh, you mean here?
No, yeah. Don't add a breakpoint there. Just have a breakpoint in the test itself that we are running. And when you get to that step, use in Visual Studio that would be F11, right? So in the test,
yeah, I mean that's literally what I did, and then I just there was a cascading retrieval of services. So I just jump in, yeah? Let's go.
Yes.
We're in here. Let's remove that for the time.
And what is the service type? It is fake navigation manager it's asking for. Yeah, that's fine. So we initialize. Yep. Okay. Yeah, and step over again and see what is the result. Okay, can you pause execution and see what it's doing? Is it because it's like just?
I don't think I can do that.
Is that an endless loop?
That's what I wanted to do with the endless cascade of debugging points here. I mean, we can make this pretty easy. Wait, let me put a breakpoint here, and let's say when the service type name navigation manager. So I shouldn't go in there twice. Well, get service internal. Well, yeah, well, I can't go there multiple times, obviously. So asking for a fake navigation manager, that's because I ask explicitly for that. That makes sense. No, and I never hit this again. And it's running, just so we are on the same page. Interesting.
I am wondering, try add enumerable.
That is a
this
fair point.
adding
What
it
happens?
as
What happens if I do this? Obviously, that's almost this. I mean, yes, there's a few changes here, but that is the roughly state of main.
yeah, I'm certain that you're supposed to be able to pull out a navigation manager before you render a component, right, in your test. Otherwise, well, it just feels
Odd.
yeah, sure, let's go with
Okay.
that. Okay, did we get a navigation manager out?
Yeah.
Okay, so hang on. So let's see here. So it only blows up when we have the supply parameter
extension.
from. Okay, let me just jump over to my screen real quick. So this method, so what we're doing here is we're just calling try enumerable, and it's scoped. It's adding a scoped thing. So, and I believe we are adding our navigation manager as a singleton. So shouldn't a scoped service be able to access a singleton?
Yeah. The other way around. I mean, you can also do it the other way around. It's just a bit dangerous.
No, I think the service collection will just say no. It'll just blow up.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah.
Yeah.
But yes,
So
we register as singleton. That is true.
So we would get in, like here we have our navigation manager gets passed in, but there's no construction logic. So it should just be able to new that up and do its thing. So I am wondering, like, if you just have code running, at least if you're in a debug mode in Visual Studio, you are able to basically just say pause execution where you are, and you can just inspect where is it in the stack and stuff like that. So it would be interesting if you can do the same thing over on your side.
I have to check it if it's possible.
Like basically a pause thing, like independent of if you're in debug mode, but you haven't hit a breakpoint, that should be as like a pause button in Rider.
But probably.
And it should basically behave as if it hits a breakpoint. Now, if you add that back in again,
I did.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I guess we can also. What if we change our add fake navigation manager to be a singleton instead of a scoped instead of a singleton? Well, that's probably going to break a few other things, but just
probably. What's then the test renderer has to be, and then with that the whole cascade of other services. But let me here. Wait, here's pause. You are absolutely right. That also works in Rider. Yeah, come on, leave me alone. Okay, so we are in this endless loop again. Yeah, you agree?
Maybe let's let it hit pause and see where the
I
stack
press that button.
takes us.
It does something, but
okay,
we are in a lock. we are in some.
We are in a wait, so you can basically back out of that. That's a manual reset. Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, let me see. I am going to move us up and maybe.
I can maybe make this window bigger. Can I? No. Can we make here? Let's make it bigger. Oh no, 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 no! That was not good, Steven. That was not good. Look at this beauty here.
Well, I don't think you need to focus on parallel stack traces, right? Because just do a stack. Just look at the stack because we don't have multiple.
Yeah, that doesn't work. I tried that. I'm gonna find where's the normal stack here. Yeah, the problem is that the reshopper, the JetBrains reshopper test runner, which obviously doesn't help right now because it's
yeah. Well, let's just back down the stack. Can you just go out like there's a task that wait, there's a unit test.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if we are looking at the wrong thing. I guess this is because the test runner has to provide the mechanism to stop. I'm not sure if we are seeing this right now because as you can see, this is literally program run with some args.
So that's sorry. If you on your on the way to the left of the window, you have the main thread selected, but you probably have other long running. So that's gonna be the XUnit test runner. That's probably gonna be another task that is sitting and
fair enough.
being blocked. So just want to click through the ones and see if we can find something that has something related
somewhat with bUnit.
Exactly.
Yeah, this one looks good.
There you go. Oh yeah, so here we go.
At default, get required service. Oh, why is it jumping in here? I just clicked here and it's just wait one node check. If I press here, what happens? Twice? It brings me back here to the main thread. I don't want to be the main thread. But it does send. It was.
Oh, hang on. Somebody's at the door.
Okay. You know what? Now that I know which process ID that is, 477909, I shall be able to find this here. It is this one. 47909 test runner. XUnit. Oh yeah. That works. That works. The test renderer asks for type which type do you want to have? Did it. Okay. Would have been too great if it shows me which types it wants. And this should be already registered. What can I check? That's so unfortunate. I would really like to know which services are currently in my test container, but unfortunately I cannot see that. That's a pity. Or I'm too stupid to do that. Well, that most likely the second one. You can again I cannot see it. Okay. And then ask for internal cache. And then I'm back to the navigation manager. But this should be already registered. I'm not sure why we see what we're seeing. And then the cascade starts again. So this is really an indefinite loop. And I guess if I would continue the execution, as you can see, it's just recursion. Okay. At least we know somewhat why. I'm not understanding to a full degree why, because while our test renderer is asking for a fake navigation manager, and someone else as well, here he's asking for test for the fake navigation manager or the navigation manager, doesn't matter for that sense. Exactly, we are here. And this required service basically calls the fake navigation manager. And the fake needs the test renderer. But wait, why is this a problem now and not before? I'm not 100% certain. While I do understand that, no, there's a dilemma. wants interface. Test renderer and web test render wants to have a test service provider. Oh, are we in here? Get required services. I can only use those. That calls the base seater, and the base seater is asking. Oh, it doesn't even ask for such stuff. Service types. Huh.
So I'm back.
Interesting. Hello, hello. So there is an indefinite recursion happening. I mean, if you scroll
Okay.
out, you can see it. You see it? I mean, it's very small. It doesn't matter. And what
Yeah.
happens, and I do not understand why this happens, is obviously, so the fake navigation manager is asking for the test renderer.
Mm-hmm.
And the test renderer is asking for the fake navigation manager.
Oh, so I think I know the problem. Why it's not working. So the problem is
don't.
that so here it is. The service that we are adding the supply parameter from query value provider is asking for a navigation manager, not a fake navigation manager.
Ah.
So
But this is
But-
the singleton. That shouldn't be a problem. This is registered in the.
well, there's other things like components under test are also asking for the navigation manager, not the fake navigation manager. But so
Yeah,
there's
fair.
something with the ordering. Like, why is it a problem asking for a navigation manager? So if you remove the supply from like the comment
works.
out the thing where we are getting where like in test context where we're adding that as the default, like comment that out and go back into the test and just
Edit
ask just add no fake navigation manager, change that to online
Navigation
what is
manager.
it? Yeah, so that should work.
Yes, I am.
Like, we certainly have tests where we have components that are getting a navigation manager injected in. Oh, it's building. Yeah.
Yeah. I do not know why it does that all the time. We might have to do something here instead.
Yeah. So I don't have the thing is, if it doesn't, it's not a problem on my computer that it takes so long. Like, it have to rebuild. So
my
I'm,
machine. What things?
yeah, no, it's more that it's I'm wondering.
Yeah, that works obviously.
Yeah, no, is it a .NET? Is there a different version of navigation manager in .NET 8? And it's I don't understand what's the problem here. Why is a specific service from Blazor in .NET 8? Because that service we're adding in there is only in .NET 8. Why is that causing an endless loop where it keeps asking for navigation manager? And
I mean, this one wants to have a navigation manager. That makes sense. I think is that this one wants a navigation manager. The navigation manager wants to have a test renderer, and the test renderer wants to have a navigation manager.
but that's like, it shouldn't matter
That's-
who's requesting it. That's my point.
Yeah.
Wait,
And also the order of registration should be.
that doesn't matter
Doesn't
either.
matter. Yeah, I would assume so as well. Yes. The heck? Why is that little line breaking everything?
No, it's about the
scoped.
I think it's scoped. Yeah, it's because it's scoped, and when you're doing, it's because it's scoped.
Because we don't have a scope, so which means, wait, if you don't have if you don't create a scope, it should behave like a singleton as well.
No, I don't think so. I think if you go back to the service registrations where we're actually registering the fake navigation manager. So Yeah, can you minimize the?
I shall do
Yeah.
that.
So here we're adding it as a singleton. I'm pretty certain that if we actually change that to be
Scoped?
scoped, but then we would have to create a.
I mean, this one can stay. It's just more like this one.
Well, yeah, I
Ah.
guess.
Doesn't matter, to be honest.
Well, no, that might actually work though, because if you have it as a singleton, the fake navigation manager, but then you have a scoped navigation manager registration, and the test renderer is still a singleton, and the test renderer will request the fake navigation manager, not the navigation manager, which I'm fairly certain it does. I guess it's a web test renderer actually that needs the navigation manager. Can you go to either one? No? Wait, what? I can't remember. Do we use the fake navigation manager in the renderer at all? Oh no, it's the no, I don't think we do.
No. Oh, not.
No, but
We don't.
the navigation manager does.
The navigation manager has the renderer. Yes.
Yes.
The navigation manager has that test renderer. Yes. But not obviously not the other way around.
Yeah. No.
And it makes sense because. Wait.
Why does it make sense?
Wait. No. Christ. I mean, if our navigation manager would know the renderer, the fake navigation manager, and
Yeah,
we
then
only
it wouldn't
have.
work.
Yeah,
Because then
exactly.
that
Because
would
you
be
have a
an
cycle.
integer. Yeah.
It has to be acyclic. But why is this thing here so special? This one wants
I
the
think
navigation
the
manager.
key is that it's the. I think I'm certain that the key is. Oh, the reason why we have the navigation manager in there is because we are dispatching. Whenever we change the UI, the notified location change is happening on the renderer's dispatcher. That's it, right?
Yeah.
So yes, that does make sense. Why it needs it. And it needs an iTest renderer, so that should be fine. And it's okay. Well, so did you change the navigation manager registration to be a single scoped instead? Okay, let's just for fun.
Yeah.
If you comment out the supply value from query.
No, I didn't. Shall I? No, I wouldn't, because we want to see it with.
Yeah. Well, I was just trying to see if we could actually create our own just tip service register as a scoped thing, and try to get it out. But
Yeah, in
so
either case, we will see if this is.
Yeah, so we can stay. Yeah, fine. That should be fine if you want to debug it again. But
yeah,
the thing is, no, but that still doesn't. So the endless loop actually doesn't happen at the point where we are. That's just in the code, in our test code, where we just in there, right? We never get into the actual renderer and anything. Like we don't get to render the component. We don't get to have the supply from.
Yes.
I don't think we get to a point where we actually have that supply from something query parameter provider gets instantiated, right? Because all we're doing is in the test we're asking for a navigation manager.
New web test renderer. New test. Why does the test renderer is asking for? Can I see it? Fortunately. What is he asking for? Why is he asking for?
It's the fake navigation manager needs an iTest renderer.
Yeah, exactly. But iTest renderer doesn't need a navigation manager. Because if I go now here, then I go back to the test renderer. So that doesn't make sense to me.
Yes.
And then I'm back in this endless cycle of the web test renderer, wants to be created, but for apparent reasons. I mean, wait. This, wait.
Oh,
Let's go
it's
back.
maybe
It's
it's
a
maybe
B
the
unit, not
I.
the B unit, the normal renderer.
Yeah,
This
but I
our
guess
friend.
if you look further down into the constructor, I think it's doing.
Yeah, this one. This one is the problem, huh? Because we are registering against that.
How
And
can
this
we
is
register
not
for I cascading value supplier?
that thing which is in the container now. Wait,
But
think
I
we can
cascading value supplier, that's internal. Oh,
yeah, this one
yeah,
here.
yeah.
And obviously be coming in at the cycle then.
I'm not sure I follow.
Okay, wait. So let me minimize that for a second. So
Yeah.
we have a navigation manager. That's
Yes.
what we have. The navigation manager is asking for a test renderer.
Yes.
That's what we do. The test renderer itself, we don't do anything with the navigation manager, but
No, but
now
that
it comes to wait. Bear with me. Now we have a base one. Let me go back to where's the
the
constructor?
navigation manager type, yeah. The renderer, it's
Yeah,
just the renderer. You're looking for the renderer.
yeah,
There
thank
you
you.
go. Yeah.
Exactly. This one wants
No,
to
no,
happen.
no. That's the
At some
renderer
point.
that wants one.
Yeah, exactly. I want to go in here. Thank you. Finally, I got this. So, and this one wants to have an I cascading value supplier. And guess which class implements I cascading value supplier? Our beautiful navigation manager. So
No,
this
not the
one will be
navigation manager. The thing that depends on navigation manager
fair.
requires
Yeah.
that. So, oh, fuck me. Yeah.
This one.
Oh, I'm
This one.
sorry for cursing on stream here. Yeah. So
Exactly.
that's why
This
we have a
one-
loop. Yeah.
Oh, wasn't this one?
No, that's right. Okay. Yeah. So that's why we get that endless loop.
Am I stupid
Yeah.
right
No,
now?
you are right. It is. So in essence, the renderer depends on the, what was the type again? It was browser.
Yes.
It was
I
the
cascading value supplier.
cascading on the cascading. Yeah, cascading value supplier, and cascading value supplier depends on navigation manager. Navigation manager depends on
Renderer, and then we have the full
renderer,
cycle.
and then we have a cycle. Yes. And you apparently have a very big stack since it didn't blow up, even though it was looping around. So
That's interesting, yeah.
yeah, no.
macOS
So
specs are probably
I
indefinite.
remember we talked about this a little while back about why I want to have test renderer not be part of, or renderer not be part of the
The
service
DI container.
collection. Yes, and that is because of this. And now that I'm thinking about it, I remember that this is something that has happened when trying to fix another problem. So yeah, we are for now dead in the water as far as I can tell.
Well, there's an ugly approach we could. I mean, I'm not even sure if this would work, but couldn't you take something like castle proxies to dynamically? I don't know if this really works. Implement that weird interface. It's not weird. It's just internal.
No, it's just internal. Yeah, that will certainly solve a whole bunch of problems for us, and we might want to go and ping the Blazor team and ask if, pretty please, can we get this to be
It's visible too, but because I don't think they will, for sure, they will not make that thing public.
Well, they might. So I think
They might.
So to some extent, there has been. It seems like the .NET team in general have been more cautious about making things non-sealed and or public, right? Because it's just and we know that from bUnit as well. As soon as you make something public, you can't technically change it without having a breaking change. Yeah, exactly. So I am wondering if there's anything that we can do to remove the test renderer from our DI container. So put differently, if the test context, instead of instantiating the test renderer, just getting it from the services collection, right? Yes, a test service provider, it just has an instance of that on itself as an internal property. Then, or rather, we remove the registrations of singletons right here. Like remove all the web test renderer from there. So if you comment those out, there's going to be a bunch of places, bunch of tests where we're using the services container to pull it out. But if we instead have on the test context base, you also want to remove the last one, 68, or is it 60?
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
60,
yeah.
So if we instead of, so the whole point is that we have a few other internal services that need to get access to the renderer to do things, right? But if we have that iTest renderer be available on the test context base, which is in the container, then those things that need to get the iTest renderer out of the services test service provider, they can just instead ask for the test renderer. And the test renderer is actually already there. It's actually publicly available already. But we, instead of getting it there lazily, we would just have it. So the problem is we don't want to do new because I think we would want to have our test context base have an abstract method that says create test renderer, so that the first time it's needed, the web test renderer, which has specific stuff for bUnit.web, will instantiate the web test renderer and not the test renderer. So I think that would be a way to do it. So if you want to try that, you can just create an abstract class, an abstract method in the test context base. Yeah, it doesn't have to be pretty for now. Make it protected. Abstract. The whatever suggestion. Yeah, that one. You want that one. No, just test renderer is. Don't have to make it generic.
It's easy. It could be.
No. We want it to be an iTest renderer because that's what the property above needs. So you call that. You basically have the same as you had that. Just to call that one, yes. And it's complaining because you don't have any XML comments. Just put in some dibbery-do something for now. Yeah, that's fine. Now, so if you build now, it'll give us a bunch of build warnings once it's done with the source compiler, I guess. Yeah. So there's a few implementations we want to. Yes, and that does require a service provider. So you do services. I think you just pass in services. It takes a test service provider.
Doesn't take multiple things. Yeah.
So I guess, you probably want to inline that, and it needs the services container.
It needs also the component activator and the locker factory.
Yeah. So
that's why I didn't want to inline it.
Yeah, but exactly. Yeah. So you want to call service. Yeah, you want to do. Logger factory. And actually, I believe one of them is optional, but I might be wrong. If you go, because that's an overload for the web test renderer constructor. If you have a good look at, that, so there is another.
I mean this one here.
And you want to say get iComponent component activator, and that's optional. So if you get that, we pass that in. Otherwise, we call the other constructor.
Yeah, but this is the version we take here, huh?
No, we can use use.
Render component, test service provider, and logger factory, and this one has an additional one. So basically, I'm taking this one.
Yes, but there's other features that supports the iComponent activator, so we need to be able to pull that out if it's available. But that would be a get, not get required, but just
Yeah.
get. Mm-hmm. And you would have to say if C is not null, call that one. Otherwise, call. Yeah. So you wanna do a conditional on if C is null. Question mark. Yeah. Then otherwise do. There you go. And why is it? Oh, it's because it wants inherit docs. Yes, there you go. You can probably copy paste that over to the other three methods that is not in like all the other three base types.
No, we don't have others. That should be fine.
No. I'm guessing you. Oh, it's yeah. I guess as long as yeah, that might be fine. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I do not know why the what is it doing here? Yeah, my CPU is doing things.
Yeah. It's not it's not just twiddling. It's bumps.
Ah,
You want to add maybe if net's 5 or greater. I believe that's.
yeah. Then we make it super easy. At least then. No. And
And then C doesn't necessarily exist.
but C always exists on.
Yeah. So no. So you want the opposite. So if it's not net 5 or greater, you want to have the else branch. Oh, okay. You can also flip it around if you like.
CC. And here I always want to have the C1
Yeah, the C should always be there, I think. No,
but yeah,
yes,
for now,
no,
let's
yeah,
keep it like that.
it might not. Yeah, it might not be. No, that's right. Yeah,
Maybe we can also rename ABC, but I'm confident that ABC.
For now, it's just prototyping. Yeah, just want to see if we can get something working. Then make it work.
Never.
Then make it
Obviously,
pretty.
that will never ever get in our source code base for no, cannot be.
Well.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what is H.2EC? So it's not like OE. It's not like
I think it's like it's not caching the previous build.
yeah. So it succeeded. That
Yes,
said, we can run our tests.
But you want to probably search for any place where we have a get service and for iTest service provider, right? We want, because there's going to be places where we do get, I get exactly those kinds of examples.
I mean, there are tests. I don't mind right now for tests.
There is also places in the code where we do that. So here you want to say test context base instead. So get required service test context base, and then you do .renderer, .dispatcher, and maybe do a line break somewhere else. Yeah.
That?
No, yeah. I mean, also put invoke async on a new line by itself.
Made it link style. Okay,
yeah. Well, actually, I wanted them all on different lines, but it's fine. I'm.
Yeah. That's my no, not select because I like that way more.
Yeah.
Yeah, this can be. Yeah. Yeah, I like it that way. Is this fine?
Just move the period down on. Yeah, there you go. Now we're nitpicking. You can copy paste that thing from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like that one up there. You can probably just copy paste that. Well, almost. Well, it looks like it looks like it's okay.
We have overloads which should work here. To be honest, they should always work.
Exactly. Renderer.
At some point, I will learn. Don't you worry. What is this with this rap using? I
I think it's because it's source generated, so it is actually there, but it's the editor doesn't pick up on it.
Jesus Christ! Wait for helper also. Test render.
Drop my
test context base render. Oh Jesus! Tests. I don't care.
Yeah, we skip the test for now. Okay, so try just go back to our single test that we had.
Wait. Test context base. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
No, it's fine. If you want, if we found a place, just because that might blow up, but we will also be notified when we try to run the test if our single test. Do you have a view where you can just go to? Yeah, exactly. So try run debugging that test again now. Oh, and we want to add back in that I supply from provider thing. I don't know if you remove that from the test context.
I thought I did not. Yeah, it's still in.
Yeah, no, it's still there. Good. Okay.
What's HF doing?
Okay, I think it's done building now. So the problem is technically, I guess that's a breaking change to some extent in that we are removing something that was in the services container previously.
Yeah. Why? Because he uses. Yeah, obviously we also have everywhere where this is now a dependency, we have to change it as well.
Yeah, you could change it to test context base. But won't we get the same loop anyway?
Yeah, we have to new this up.
No, but I think what we can do is we can just pass in test context base. That's fine. But then we don't pull out the renderer before we need it, right? So you just store the renderer in the fake navigation manager. No, sorry, store the test context rather. Yes, store that one. And the place where we access the renderer, it's further down in the code. You want to delete that line there. There you go. Just delete that completely, that line. No, just delete it. Steven, just delete the line. Just delete line 6.
Easier. I know, but it's not easier if we just do that. So we initialize lazy and get it here.
No, because you don't want to do services. You just want to do test context based renderer. It's just a property.
Yeah, fair.
So that's on test context based. That's just a property called renderer. So you can just access it through there.
Fair enough. Here.
Yeah, so it would be test context based renderer, because that would also initialize it lazily, because that's what we do in the test context, right? So test context, we have that initialize method that is the, so I think it's only the one. Yeah. So yeah, try running the test again if everything builds. A friend of mine just texted me and said it was fine with dark mode on that other. So our whole detail, but it's at least I was also talking to
now we know.
C# Fridge, Jeff Fridge of Twitch fame and YouTube fame. Very big C# .NET based
look
streamer.
At this.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now we are in the game. So yeah, let's see if it blows up when we render. Okay, and now I think we have something in here.
I meant the wrong one.
Just expand the parameter. There you go. That one, and then we can see we have supply. Yeah, and
what is the name?
So sorry, if you step over and have a look and see if the test passes. Anyway, yeah, he said that because the problem is also that the contrast isn't great if it's like in some cases, and then if you have low resolution, if it's only 727p, then it something. He said it was quite a bit easier now than it was for a couple of years ago when I started setting up stream first. So instead of having to maybe use StreamYard, you can just set up OBS and get things, or I don't know, stream. Whatever it's called from Twitch, that they have their own client, and even do multi streams and have guests in like we have here. But anyway, I digress. So we do have a way. It worked, yes. So the response to the the issue could be that you need to set a navigation, or basically set the query parameter in the navigation manager before you render your component. I'm not sure if that's the prettiest thing,
but there's a big it will work for supply from query, but it will for sure not work for supply from form.
But maybe supply from form is a bit more forgiving. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we can just check that later. But anyway, we have to check this in.
Yes, no, it's definitely not ready for. But it's at least found a way around.
Push that domain.
Let's get that merged. Good enough. No.
I told you the variables. No.
So, I'm just.
But I mean, there's certain things we have to do. That's true. I just want. That's cool. Look at this. They really. Oh, I have to report this to writer team. It doesn't rename something if it's not in the if def. You could argue, oh well, no, that's bad. That's bad, to be honest. That shouldn't happen. At least from my point of view, I feel like this behavior is wrong.
It might be. I just want to see anyway. How far off are we in terms of the. Yeah, I want to. Now I want to be supply parameter from form attribute, and that's also an internal class. So if I just steal the screen one second here, steal away.
I have to drop off soon anyway.
Yeah, me too. So here we have the supply that's also added as a scope, and it depends on supply parameter from value provider, and that supplies. And so this is public. So at least we can do stuff here. We have an I-value mapper, which our supply parameter from value provider form provider. So this guy depends on I-form value mapper with some scope thing. So I think for this to work, we need to have our own bUnit form value mapper. And
why isn't there already one in the container? Do we really have to provide that?
Well, let's see. What is there? That's HTTP context value, which means we need to have a HTTP context form data provider, which so wait, I probably don't want to use. Yeah, maybe they have a test version we can steal.
There's a test form value binder, which just literally nothing.
It's just so it's just not implemented exception, I guess. And then there's some what else? I-form. Is this really all the? So it's not. We can't use that for anything. And here we have some endpoints, HTTP context. That's the same. This is all tests. So there's not a lot of things that implement that, it seems. No, it certainly isn't. No, but if we have a look at it, determines whether a specific value type can be mapped. So we get the type in, we get scope, and then we have a map that takes a value form map in context, which must be public as well. And it has a bunch of form names and stuff. And then it has an object, we get it back, give it back. Set result. So yeah, it looks like we can do the same thing, essentially, right? As we have here. So we can create a like fake navigation manager. We can have something that can supply data, and if it exists in the services connection, then when we do parameter mapping, that will be available. And we could, in theory, have in the component parameter builder, component collection parameter builder, that's a mouthful, that could be an add,
Form
add
something.
add query parameter or something like that, and that could be an add forms parameter. Or we could just have an add method with the proper overload that will figure out the rest and then, pass. So instead of having the navigation manager as we do now, that people actually have to go and pull out of the service collection and then set, we can detect that it's the supply from query parameter attribute that is there, and then go into this to the navigation manager and add that parameter to the URL, like you're doing manually in the test that you had.
Yep.
And we can do the same with the type, and we can even make it strongly typed, right? Because we know what is the value that is supposed to be passed into that property. So that should be fine. So I do think we have a way around. I am not certain yet whether or not we should ask the Blazor team for help, or if this is something that will work stably. And we might also have a slight breaking, but then we also, I think it's a good change that we don't have the iTest renderer in the services container. Anyway, I would consider it like a slight pub-ternal thing. So if people have a dependency on that, it's going to be very few people we break. So I think it's even safe to do that for V1, to remove that so it's not there as a default in a thing. Because people would, I guess what we could even do, we can register like a dummy, a stop iTest renderer in the services container, and say if they try to go in and get that, we throw an exception saying, hey, it's not here anymore, but request iTest context base and access the renderer through the .renderer property, and then we're good to go.
At least I just checked grab.app. There's two occurrences, and both of them, one is using the service container, that would fail for sure. And the other one is using basically the test context. So that would be safe.
Yeah. So I do remember there were some issues that were caused by having the iTest renderer in the services container. Also, that resulted in a few annoying workarounds and things that weren't possible. So that might also open up for further refactorings later on, but maybe that's going to be V2 stuff. Anyway, Stephen, I think we actually got to a good place, but we probably want to polish this up next week and follow up and maybe get it ready for release. Yeah, let's say good evening or good morning or good afternoon,
good night,
wherever you are.
Maybe and, people use that to fall asleep.
Yeah,
well, I don't judge.
No, exactly. So I see you have trains going on in the background in your window.
Yeah. I live close by, which is it's somewhat good. It takes me 5 minutes to go to a train station, so I'm very well connected.
Awesome. Well, anyway, let's call it a day and say, thanks for coding with us, everybody, and hopefully see you in a week.
Bye-bye. Cheers.
Bye-bye.